What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a film that I said I was going to watch, and I did watch it. Recently, I talked about Gore Verbinski's The Ring, and I finally went back and watched the original Japanese film Ringu. I was very excited to watch this because as you guys know, if you watched my other video, I'm a huge fan of the Gore Verbinski The Ring, and so I really wanted to see the source material that it was based off of, watch it, see how it compares to the remake, and I'm looking forward to talking about it today. Ringu is directed by Hideo Nakata. A mysterious video has been linked to a number of deaths, and when an inquisitive journalist finds the tape and views it herself, she sets in motion a chain of events that puts her own life in danger. So, like I said, very excited to watch this movie because I am a huge fan of the Gore Verbinski The Ring. I was really excited to see the Japanese version because I feel like with Asian horror, there are so many incredible Asian horror films that I personally love a lot. And so I was really excited to see stylistically how much it matched up, what the remake did with the original source material. And unfortunately, I really did not like this movie at all. I have a few positive things to say about it, but I think it falls short to Gore Verbinski's in virtually every way. So as far as like structure, if you watch my The Ring video, it's set up very similarly. We get the intro of the two girls talking to each other about the lore of the videotape and about the people watching it. There's kind of a joke. One of the girls says, "Hey, I watched the videotape," and the other one's like, "Oh, there's no way that you did it," whatever. There's that tense build-up, and then we find out that she has seen the videotape and she dies very early on. And then we're introduced to Riko, who is our lead character in this film. She's a journalist similar to Naomi Watts' character, and she is actually doing a series of reports talking to people about this on the street, about this lore of this videotape that's killing people, and she decides to go investigate for herself, similar to Naomi Watts' character, goes to this cabin, finds the videotape, watches it for herself, and then she gets her ex-husband involved, where Naomi Watts just was seeing this guy, and they were dating on and off, and they have a kid together. This is actually her ex-husband who she gets involved with it, and they have a child together. And the entire film is very similar to the Gore Verbinski The Ring. She is investigating why this happened and why this videotape is made. We get some surreal imagery in this videotape as well. And the movie is really the same thing. It's that investigation to try to figure out how they can break this curse. So, my biggest issue with this film is it has no atmosphere and absolutely no tension whatsoever. Similarly to the Gore Verbinski version, you do get the title cards of the days. So you have the ticking clock element. The problem is, in the Gore Verbinski version, you have moody cinematography, you have an eerie score, you have the constant threat of something being around every corner, whether that's seeing something from the videotape, seeing the evil entity moving around. Something is constantly there reminding you as the viewer what the threat is. This has so many moments of just dry dialogue that doesn't lead anywhere, and I'm totally fine with movies that are slower paced and that can build anxiety and tension, but when you keep pulling me out to where it doesn't feel like a horror movie anymore, I just get kind of lost as to what you were trying to go for. I don't think that the story of the videotape in this movie is nearly as interesting as the Gore Verbinski version. There's moments, the whole thing with the volcano and the woman throwing herself in the volcano is relatively interesting. In the Gore Verbinski version, you get a lot of really interesting flashbacks, and you get a lot of things visually that continue to expand this world. In Ringu, it's much more of just expositional dialogue dump, to where it's so much less interesting as a viewer to watch. The cinematography is relatively wide. There's a lot of medium to medium long shots to where I don't feel very close with the characters, so it's hard for me to connect with them in any way, shape, or form. And that's not to say that the performances are bad. I think that the two lead actors especially give really solid performances, and especially the lead actress, she is definitely has some moments where she is horrified throughout the movie, and I think she does a really good job They also do the thing in this movie where what I like about Naomi Watts' character and Gore Verbinski's The Ring is that she's really the powerhouse protagonist of the movie, and it's not like she has to be saved. It's not like someone has to run and save her. She's trying to figure things out. She is the one taking charge and investigating this. In this, the lead character kind of takes a backseat to her ex-husband in multiple moments where I'm just kind of like, okay, it's not as interesting to me because their dynamic just feels so cliche in a way that I don't appreciate as much as what Gore Verbinski did in his version of The Ring. And it just is very underwhelming. Even when we're seeing the third act blow up, it's just not nearly as fascinating to me or as well styled or structured to me as Gore Verbinski's The Ring. It just gets really bland, and that's the worst thing that I can say about a movie, is if I get really bored and uninterested, and that is mostly this movie. I do like some of the soundtrack choices in it that are interesting. The cinematography is relatively nice. It's a little too bright in moments, though, where it just doesn't feel like a horror movie. And like, I'm fine with horror movies that have kind of a bright vibe to them. I think of another incredible Japanese horror film, House, that uses that bright cinematography to create a very dark and sadistic atmosphere that the comedy contrasts the real horror, and there's an intentionality behind that visual presentation. This just feels like we set up a camera and shot what we wanted to be a horror movie, but it's not really scary, and it's not really all that interesting. I didn't find the character dynamics all that interesting. I did like the choices in the third act, especially the very end. I think it takes a very sadistic turn. I liked that element of the movie in the third act, especially the very ending, but you got to give me something more leading up to it, and I just found this movie to be very underwhelming compared to the remake, which I virtually never say about remakes, because mostly remakes just feel like poor rehashings of great material, and this was just very mediocre to me, and I don't see myself revisiting it anytime in the near future. So have you seen Ringu? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was very mediocre compared to the remake, and I would much rather revisit Gore Verbinski's than watch this again. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.